welcome back. We're continuing our robot project. Our next group is Joel's group, and they're going to be talking about their Gary the Green Dinosaur.
Alrighty, hello everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Joel, and these are my group mates, Ishmael, Lewis, Jose, and Ronaldo. And we will be covering our robot Model Q, and named it Gary the Green Dinosaur. So basically, our robot, a bit similar to the last robot. It's got a motion sensor here, which senses the obstacles. It comes with a line sensor as well, which would read using little lasers. It would read the black tape. And on the back of the robot, turn this off. Alrighty. On the back of the robot, it's run by a battery pack, which uses up to 6 AA batteries. And the body here is where everything goes down, all the circuitry, there's a motherboard. And yeah, so everything's connected with internet cables, the one connecting the body to the head and then the body to the battery, and then the head to the battery, so it gains some kind of power using the batteries. And it's powered also on the bottom here. You can see it's run, the 2 tires are run by really cheap motors here, which connect to the battery, which uses power. And unfortunately, we ran into an issue where the motors aren't working properly, therefore not giving us the opportunity to use the wheels accurately as we were supposed to. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to be covering how we came to choose this robot in the first place. So basically, it fit the price range that we were shooting for, which was anywhere around $80 to $100. And yeah, found a good deal for it. We also took into consideration that it's programmable and that it's compatible with both Arduino and Python, which made the job a little bit easier for us in the beginning. And now I'm going to switch it over to Mose, who's going to be covering the
purpose.
Thank you.
The purpose of the dinosaur was basically to make sure that it's able to do multiple movements. It could do a 360, can reach speeds between 1 and 60. Other than that,
Did you say 1 in 60 miles an hour? That's pretty fast.
Yeah, basically, so with the code that we can use, we had to switch it up. We're trying to make sure that we could try to see if the motors would work. It could work at about 30, 35, but the maximum speed it told us it could go was 60. It works as a light device on the back. It can light up to different colors. It depends on which colors you want, green, blue, yellow. And then it does the same thing for the sensors on the top of the head. Going forward, the reason why we chose this particular robot is because we want it to be the apex predators. We want it to be the top of the food chain, basically. And with that, we will pass it on to my next partner with the pros and cons, Esmeralda.
Hi, I'm Esmeralda. The pros and cons about Python. Okay, so basically the pros of Python was that it has an extensive library on their website. So we found a lot of documents that were really helpful to figure out how we can understand the programming language. And it also has some documents on some solutions in case you would run into some technical difficulties. Also, it's easy to use. You can do more with less coding. So I know that with JavaScript, you have to use a lot of the semicolons, and that's just for, to make statements to run the program. And with Python, you don't really have to do that. It's pretty simple, and it even shows right here. This is JavaScript. You can't see that, but also another pro is that it's compatible with Mac operating system, Linux operating system, and Windows operating system. A con is that the Python programming language is not very transferable to other programming languages, so it would be pretty difficult to learn another programming languages because they don't have the same commands and variety types of commands.
passing off to Louis, who will discuss the difficulties that we had with the program language.
Hello everybody. So my name is Louis. We decided to use Python as our language, and some of the difficulties we had was when we first tested the robot. When we first tested the robot, we used a code to move it forward, but somehow that code did not move forward. It did not let the robot move forward, so it ended up moving backwards. Also, I was in charge of the control code, and one of the control codes was this one. If the dinosaur detected an object, it would then move left of the object or right. And now I would transition this to Ishmael.
You will be covering technical issues that we had with the robot and how we decided to come up with Python as our programming language.
Hi everybody. So we had a lot of problems in the beginning, including choosing the language. This dinosaur had two different languages. We could use Arduino, or we could have used Python. And upon further reflection, we decided to use Python because it was easier, as Esmeralda said. It did take less time to learn, and it was just simply more compatible with our needs. The beginning of the coding process was the movement part. Motion, as you can see, the code we used was showing direction to the motor, and also time sleep, so delaying the speed, because obviously one of the mechanical issues we had in the beginning was we were going too fast. And so I'm going to show you a little video here if I can. It's not working now, but upon the beginning, we were
Put your video on the screen.
now we were unable to put this up there, but as you can see, it is working. As you can see.
Is that an iPhone?
Yeah.
Plug it into the this guy.
Can't.
There. Plug it in here.
It's not my phone. Just my Samsung.
Oh.
So yeah, but just to give you a little fraction of how it would work. Okay. It is moving at this particular time, and we believe that when we were testing it, mechanical issues, so we were going too fast, we might have hit a wall, a screw might have gotten loose, and this could have contributed to it not working through the wires, to the wheels. So the code itself is pretty simple, and it's the reason why we chose it. It just gives you the directions, it gives you certain coordinations, you want to go left, right, backwards, forward, and also allows you to stop the robot anytime you want. One of the things we could also do is we have the ability to choose any color we want on the back. So if you want red, purple, any type of different color settings. We were also able to, through the instructions, able to put in sound, different, like put in a little
Technical issue.
soundtrack, a playlist. We were going to use Jurassic Park, but we weren't able to figure that out. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues, but I'm pretty sure with more time, we would have been able to figure everything out. Thank you.
Next slide, please. All right, so in conclusion, when you start your projects early with a robot, especially as the one that this one has with a lot of components with it, it's important not to open parts that specifically are told in a manual to not open, because our mouse, unfortunately, when we tried to program it, it just didn't want to work anymore because of all the manually openings and closings that myself accidentally did and others in my team. Besides that, yeah, this is our robot, the Cube model, and I just want to thank everybody and apologize that we unfortunately couldn't make this move. But yeah, thank you everybody for taking the time to listen to our presentation. Thank you. Any questions?
Do you know what might have happened, why it didn't?
So my best guess is when we assembled the tires, we either put too much
Too tight.
too tight on the wheels. therefore, because this whole arm right here, it's connected to the body up here, and this one metal piece right here connects the wheels. Because the motors are good. It's actually, that sound that you hear is actually it trying to move. But unfortunately, due to some unknown circumstances, but my best guess is it started, you could tell right now the wheels are kind of like slanted.
Stiff,
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what is making it move.
And adding to that, what also could have contributed to, as I showed you that video, we weren't able to figure out the speed and like the exact measurements, so we might have been going too fast. We might have been over using it, and so that could have also contributed to that problem.
Any other questions?
Thank you all for an excellent presentation. My question is regarding the pros and the cons. How would you convince someone else who'd like to take on this project, given the pros and the cons? You all mentioned the language. They had a few options, but you all favored one over the other. How would you all market this to another audience if you were just pushing it out, showing the benefits, trying to sell it? How would you market it?
I would say that a lot of well-known companies use it, like Facebook and Google, and they use it because it is pretty simple to use. But yeah, probably just because big companies use Python.
To follow along with what Rob was trying to say, yeah, not only do big companies like Google and Facebook use a programming language like Python, because it's easier to use than, for example, JavaScript, where it requires different coding methods. But yeah, that's the way I would advertise it to somebody is I would show them the program that's compatible with, and discuss with them the fact that if this big companies are using it, like Google, Amazon, then it must say something for the product itself. So just with that, I feel like it could attract a lot of eyes.
To follow along with that, it's more of the software. They have an app that you can use where it's for like 10 and up, so you only have to be like 10 years to understand it, where you build the blocks, and then if you want to, you could switch over to another tab where it shows the Python code. But it also takes Swift, which is probably something easy. There's a lot of free courses, and it's JavaScript and C++. So it's basically a bilingual thing. So if you want to do a coding, it's a perfect way to get into entry level.
Any other questions?